Man, it is good to be back. Football week 1 is here, and let's dive right into the film. Welcome back, guys. Hope your day is going well. And today, I want to take a look at some of the highlights from the Chiefs' preseason week 1 game against the Rams. Before I start watching the film with you, though, I want to talk just for a second about how I'm actually going to look point out some of these highlights, because we could talk about a lot of different things, but I tend to stick with things, players' athleticism, doing incredible things. I tend to avoid more stat based things, because again, you're playing against teams like third and fourth string players. It's not very realistic for like an actual game. The only exception being like kickers and players whose stats don't, there's no difference in the situation of a preseason game and a regular season game other than the stakes. Whereas like, there's no competition where, in terms of like kicking a field goal. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. All right. I just want to start off by talking about Jaden Hicks. So Jaden Hicks played a great game. There were some questions on like if he'd be able to take a step up and provide for this defensive back room from last year. Not that he played bad last year, but you like to see improvement in your young guys year over year. And if he continues to play as good as he did on Saturday, then he'll be a great piece for the Chiefs defense. We're going to take a look at one example of his solo tackling, which is great to see from your defensive backs. And we're also going to take a look at some of his pass coverage that I liked from this game. But starting off here, so you've got Jaden Hicks right here and playing as back safety. And this play, he's just going to take and throw a little flat out to the flats here. And the Rams are going to get the first down here, but this is a nice tackle by Hicks. He's actually going to come all the way up here, following the guy at the backfield. Bam. That's it right there. Nice solid hit by Jaden Hicks, shutting that down for the minimal gain that it is. So let's continue on. All right, so 3rd and goal. You got Hicks right here. I believe he's playing man coverage on this individual right here. I'm not sure who this is, but he's going to run kind of a little slant out, like an out route. And Hicks is just going to perfectly, maybe he could have been in a little better place. So you see they're out, boom, out to the outside. Could have undercut that maybe a little better, but just kind of, look at the positioning here. He's perfectly in spot. Maybe the ball wasn't thrown the best to kind of undercut this pass, knock it down. Great play. Those are the kind of things you like to see from your defensive backs. And Jaden Hicks had a good game. I will definitely be paying attention to you for the rest of the preseason. And on to the next set. All right, and here talking about, from the title of the video, Emmett Johnson. What a dynamic running back that the Chiefs have acquired as potentially even their RB2 to back up, obviously, Kenneth Walker. He had a phenomenal game, and it gives me a lot of hope for having a really great running back room that has depth beyond Walker. So 1st and 10 here, you got Nussmeier under the gun, and he's just going to take and hand this off. And right away, as you're going to see here, these guys are going to get through right away. Look at this. You already have 2 guys in the backfield. The lead blocker's already, missed his blocks entirely. But if this runner, Johnson, was Pacheco or Brashard Smith or Kareem Hunt from last year, he's losing 3 or 4 yards in the backfield. He's not breaking these tackles. Watch Johnson. He's going to first stiff arm number 93 here, bounce out, and has the speed and burst to get outside and turn what was a 4-yard loss into a 10-yard gain. And those are the kinds of plays that, maybe if you weren't playing like 3rd and 4th string guys, you were playing better defensive guys, maybe, instead of a 10-yard gain there, maybe it's only, back to the line of scrimmage. But that's far better than, what Pacheco, what Hunt, what Brashard Smith would have done last season with the ball, which is get blown up in the backfield in those cases. So very exciting to watch. And I do have one more instance of his running ability. So let's take a look at that. All right. 2nd and 10. You got Johnson in the backfield. So watch as this develops, right? So very clearly he wants to go right in between the guard and the tackle here, right? This is his hole. but as it develops, it's not really there. 62's kind of beat this block right here, right? So Johnson's going to take this to the outside, and especially Pacheco, and not to say anything bad about Pacheco, in his earlier career he played better, but Pacheco has really bad like vision awareness of like where the holes are and where to go, and that caused him to have a lot of 1 or 2 yard runs where he gets hit near the line of scrimmage. Johnson's going to take this. He's just going to bounce it outside. And on top of that, he has the, ability to take and make guys miss tackles, drag guys with him. And, that's a play that like last year's running backs maybe get 1 yard, 2 yard, 3 yards at most. He took that for 10, and this is a great guy to have as your backup running back in this system. Maybe he sees packages where he's in when Walker needs a break. This is exciting stuff. And in the long term, this guy could really play for the Chiefs. Keep it up. I'll be paying attention to you for the rest of preseason. On to the next part. All right. If you watch the game, you know what this is going to be. 3rd and 8, Nussmeier in the gun. We're talking about Cyrus Allen. So I talked about it a little bit in last week's video, talking about the wide receiver room, that Cyrus Allen should be the guy. And he made a catch here worthy of being a 53-man roster slot and seeing the field with our regular team, in my opinion. But like I said, we have to keep watching the preseason as it progresses and see what the coaches think about it. But all right, so you got Allen on the outside here. He's going to run, and he's going to find a space in this zone defense. All right, so he gets out. He's got his space. He's going to plant, look back. All right, Nussmeier throws this ball, and this pass is a little bit high. And look at this. So I'll just back up a second. Sorry about that. So this pass is high. It's not a great pass. Look at him leap up and just grab this. I mean, incredible athletic ability. Just one more time. I mean, it's insane. You wish that guys could play like this all the time. And this is, the level of play that we really haven't even seen from our wide receivers, not named Travis Kelce, who is obviously a tight end, in many, many years, maybe since Tyreek was here in 2022, and if Allen can stack plays like that and stack games like this one that he had, I think he'll find himself on the 53-man roster as one of those wide receivers. But let's go ahead and move on. All right, so just want to give a little bit of a shout out to Butker. So, last year Butker had some struggles, missed some PATs, missed some field goals. There were a lot of question marks, because we just paid him a lot. We paid him a bag, are we going to have to give Butker competition? Is he still the guy? Is he still the kicker he was a few years ago before he had the knee cleanup surgery? Well, he was perfect 4 for 4 in this game, including a 59-yarder, which this kick probably could have been good from 60 plus, 63 yards. I mean, great kick. I'm happy to see that he's having the success again that he had earlier, and hopefully that continues and he continues to stack consistent kicking games. Every team needs a great kicker. Every team needs great special teams. It's very underrated. It would be nice to rebuild the reliability in Butker that he lost, and I'll be paying attention to his kicking for the rest of preseason. Let's move on to the last one. All right. For the last one, I want to talk a little bit about Nussmeier, 7th-round quarterback out of LSU that we drafted this year. He got to see a lot of playing time in this one. Mahomes didn't play at all. Justin Fields played for a little bit, and then he was in for most of the game, and then Oladokin played later. But I just want to say, I'm not going to really read into his play. I think he played okay, but this dude has a cannon of an arm, and I think everybody needs to see this pass because this is the kind of deep ball that I wish Mahomes had sometimes. Mahomes' deep ball isn't always the most accurate thing in the world, and maybe that'll be better this year, pending to see, but this is such a great play. 3rd and 21, no hope of getting out of this. Watch this, so he's going to step back, and he's literally halfway in his end zone, right? So he's basically minus 5 yards, all right? Look at this throw. Cannon all the way to midfield on the other side of the 50. That's a 55-yard pass and it's in the breadbasket. Unfortunately, the receiver did drop it, but I mean, you can't get a pass much better than that in the league. It hit him in the breadbasket, and he dropped it. So, you know, uh, passes like that definitely, make me think there could be a serious future for Nussmeier as the, backup quarterback for this team. And hopefully in the future, maybe a starting role, not here. We have Patrick Mahomes, but maybe, he gets a chance for a different team down the line. I wish him luck. Hopefully, he's getting to learn under one of the best quarterbacks, one of the best head coaches in the game. And it will be worth watching his development as time goes on. All right, so that'll about be it. So, we took a look at those. Those are my highlights. If you had any that you wanted to talk about or anything that, you didn't agree with, go ahead and put that down. If I had to say one thing for improvement from this game, obviously it's the penalties. The Chiefs had a lot of penalties in this game. And, that's not something that can be sustainable carrying forward, but it is a preseason game. You're playing a lot of your third and fourth string guys. So that is something that should improve. If it doesn't improve, then we will have more concern at that point. But for right now, it's just young guys making simple mistakes, not being on cue. Bienemy should get that all cleaned up on his offense. But with that, guys, I'll see you next time and have a great day.